Hello and welcome. This is a video all about getting started with your bow. So if you're new to violin and you're just getting your bow, when you first get it, if it's a brand new bow, it may not make any sound. And there's a lot of students that ring the shop and think that they've been given a faulty bow. You haven't been given a faulty bow, it just doesn't have any rosin on it yet. So I'll be showing you what to do about that. And I'd also like to show you how to wind and unwind your bow. So first of all, notice that I'm holding it only by the wood, and I'm being really precise about that. I never ever touch the bow hair. I never need to. So if I bring it in close, you can see you've got the hair, this part here, and you never need to touch it. So just keep your hands always on the wood, and you can have two hands on if you need to. Okay, so that's the first thing to remember. Why do we not put our fingers on there? That's because we've got oil in our hands and it goes into the hair and it really damages it over time, and it won't make a sound if you put oil into the bow. And the other thing is that you can snap all the bow hair and you lose them. You can lose several at a time if you touch it, and that's a shame to waste up your bow hair as well. So holding on like this. Now notice how I've got the hair on the top and the wooden side on the bottom. If you hold yours like that, then you can follow exactly what I'm doing. It just makes it a little bit easier for you. So I've just taken it out of the case and it looks really shaggy. So if I show you up close, it's nice, it's loose and shaggy, and that's the resting position. So if I'm not using the bow at any time, it's a good idea to loosen it off and give it a good rest in the case. I have seen bows snap in the case if they're left on under tension for too long. So it's just a good little rule of thumb to remember, give it a rest in between, and then you don't lose your elasticity in the wood as well. Okay, so holding it with the hair on the top, I'm going to turn the screw away from myself. And I probably need to do, well, every bow's a bit different, but I'd probably suggest 3 or 4 turns and then have a look at what you've done. Okay, now, ever so carefully, I will put my pinky finger in the middle there, and you can see that it's about the height of my pinky finger. Then I've done it, I'm finished. Okay, I don't want to go too much above that because the wood will start to bend the other direction, and that's when you can get a snap in your bow, and that you can't fix that. So that's a broken bow. So please be ever so careful not to go beyond that with the winding. All right, now it's good to practice winding up and down a few times because, especially for little kids, they do find it hard to grip this small screw, and sometimes they need the parents to really help them a few times with this. So let's go the other way. We're going towards yourself. I've got the hair up again and the wood underneath. So if you hold it in the same direction, you can really have a good look at what you're doing. And you can see that the hair comes down towards the wood and it gets all shaggy. Don't go too shaggy, that's enough there, otherwise the bow is designed to fall apart, okay, and that will give you a bit of a fright. That's just for when it goes to the workshop and the professional needs to work on it. That's when they do that. You don't need to do that ever. So just about that amount of shagginess is plenty, and that's a good one for putting it away in the case and having a rest. Okay, so let's do that one more time. We're going to tighten it by moving the screw away from yourself. Have a look at the hair. It just goes up in front of your eyes, and we'll put the pinky finger in the middle for the test. And I really don't need to touch the hair. I just put my finger there and I can measure it like that with my eyes. The next thing now is to put on the rosin. Now I've got one of these rosins, which is really common student rosin, but you might have one slightly different. Same concept though. So open up your rosin, and all you need to do is hold the bow in one hand and rosin with the other. Now, as I was saying, if you've got a brand new bow and you've never used it before, you will need to put so much rosin. You're probably going to need 10 minutes of rosining. So you'll be like this, and you can actually see like a little white, creamy white dust going on your bow, and you know then it's working. And you'll see it building up. If your bow is an older one, it starts to get a bit brownish greyish looking when it hasn't been rosined, and you'll get used to noticing that, and you'll say, oh, we're ready to do another rosin top up. So I'm rosining as though it's a new bow, so I'm really going over it quite a bit and giving it a fair bit so I can see that white dust building up. Okay, and if you've had your bow for a while, the type of rosin you might do a bit more like this, sort of spreading it out so that the whole bow gets some. If you're fairly new to the violin, you won't be rosining every day because you won't be playing enough to rub it all off. Professionals need to rosin every time they play, so you get used to seeing how often you'll need just by the colour of the bow. And if you haven't got enough on there, it gets a very slippery sort of feel and it doesn't make much of a sound. So you can actually feel it gripping a little bit better to your strings if you've got the right amount of rosin. So that is getting started with your bow, winding it up and winding it back and putting on the rosin. So to finish off, we'll unwind our bow again as though we're about to put it away. So I've got the hair on the top and the wood underneath, and I'm going to bring that screw towards myself about 3 or 4 turns till it just goes loose and shaggy, and then it's ready to go back in the case.